YouTubers, welcome to my channel. Need to talk about some really important things. Oh my goodness. So look at this whole statement tribute that Prince Harry put out there. This is why you need to look at what they're doing and understand that there's no olive branch. There's no coming together. Nothing has changed, because if it had, they would have never put out this statement. Ask yourself this. Do you think Harry would have put that statement out by himself if he wasn't married to Meghan? He would never have done that. No, he would not. They put that statement out there to be relevant, to be in the news. It is about the Queen right now. So why would you have to put out this tribute? Why would you have to say something like this unless you were trying to help your brand? You're trying to keep yourself in the news. You're feeling guilty perhaps about arriving too late to see your grandmama. The things that they said or Harry said, we know it's from both of them, essentially, Meghan and Harry. Your children being held by your grandmother, you think you can just put that in a statement and it makes it better? They refused to bring their children over to see Queen Elizabeth when she was alive. So why put it in this statement right now? This is the hypocrisy of this couple. And I'm not going to go on a tangent about it, but these are the things that the Americans won't see. Once again, what will they see? The Americans that don't follow this, they'll see, oh, Harry put out a statement. It'll be covered by all the entertainment magazines and other mainstream media, and all is well with Harry and Meghan. And it's just so nice what they did. They put out that statement. And I think he has dishonored his grandmama, and anything he says now should be scrutinized, because he is definitely someone that has not fulfilled the things that he's talking about in this whole tribute to his grandmother. It is ridiculous and it's upsetting because there's a clear motive. So this is how you know Harry and Meghan are not going to change, because they even have this statement out. These are things that have to be coordinated with the royal households. Like, you just don't put out statements. Other family members aren't doing this, so why do they feel that they have the right to do this? They are definitely going to do things that are trying to hurt the monarchy. Trust me, because the Americans, the other people seeing this statement are going to see it for what it is, how Harry wants you to see it. But the undertone, the reason why he did it, like all that stuff, others are not going to pick up on it. And once again, they're able to keep building on their false narrative of being royal in America. They've left the monarchy. They need to stop putting out statements because they're no longer working royals. This makes no sense. I want to get back into the lady that spoke so negatively about the Queen, and also what's come out most recently within the cut, because they are actually now speaking with the lady that made those horrible statements about Queen Elizabeth when she died in one of my last videos. And the lady Aju Anya. So she's speaking with the Cut magazine, and the title of the article is "I Won't Cry Over the Death of a Violent Oppressor." And this is going to be a narrative that, I'm telling you, in America, they are trying to put an end to something with the monarchy, or they're trying to make the monarchy in the UK, they're trying to make the real royals look bad. In their accession, they're coming down to everything that they have done is not a good thing. And then this is going to validate Meghan doing what she's doing in America. The article zones in on things that are definitely not the way they really are in reality, because she wants to blame the monarch for oppression of her people, the black people. And we know that it's clearly wrong. That is not a right way to justify it. It has been something that's been around for thousands of years. And it's not, slavery just did not happen with the colonizing of African countries and taking their wealth. It's been done by many different people, cultures, races of people. It's been done by, I mean, you look at what's happening now in Africa. I mean, there's the Chinese are over there, the Russians are there, they're taking from the land, and these people are still impoverished over there. Why? Why is there so much poverty in certain countries in Africa? Why is that? Have you ever asked yourself that? There are a lot of things that have contributed to that. And Black people have also done harm to their own Black people. They've done it then and they still do it now. They still do it now. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Black people that had empires that were royalty over in Africa, different countries in Africa. They were also enslaving their own people. So we look at the news of the death of the Queen, and there is all this pouring of grief and the great service that she has done. But there are a lot of people who are very much anti-monarchist, even here in America. As a matter of fact, at the UFC, I believe it was, when they did a tribute to the Queen from her passing, she was actually booed. This was here in America. And I'm telling you, as I speak today, Harry and Meghan are going to capitalize on that, and they're going to use it to enrich themselves as being the new modern royals in America. And people are going to go against the current royal monarchy, the current royals, the current crown, like they're going to go against the real deal. That's my prediction. The British Empire was once marked by genocide, racism, exploitation, and her death has met with indifference. It's been met with rage and even celebration of her death. I heard that the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire is finally dying, Uju Anya has said. He is an applied linguistics professor at Carnegie Mellon. And we know she tweeted this, and she said she hoped that the death of the Queen would be excruciating. I spoke about this in one of my videos. So Anya, she was born in Nigeria in the aftermath of its civil war, which included genocide, and it was aided and abetted by the UK over oil interests. Anya, she is far from alone, in her criticizing of the Queen's role in obscuring the realities of colonialism, which over the course of her 70-year reign, she at times acknowledged but never explicitly apologized for it. Now, this is what Anya is saying. These are not my words, okay? This is what she is saying in this interview with The Cut magazine. Anya's words were met with harsh backlash, including, Jeff Bezos mentioned that, she's someone who's supposed to be helping to make the world a better place. I don't think so. Wow. So I'm glad that Jeff called her out for that. And then she had the nerve in this article to say that it was terrible how Jeff called her out or singled her out because of what she said. Well, woman, what did you do to the Queen? You did the exact same thing to the Queen. But I digress. This was in the article. So basically, she's not going to express any kind of remorse about the death of the Queen, because essentially she is saying that the Queen is the reason why, and she's blaming it all on the Queen. I don't even if knowing, but that the Queen definitely has done things to make things better by giving certain powers to the governments of the Commonwealth countries, kind of make up for the things from what has happened within the British Empire. It was something that was to help these Commonwealth countries in the different realms. So why was she not credited for that? Why was she singling the Queen out for something that we all know wasn't single-handedly the Queen doing that? That's just not true. But when you say these things that are not true, what happens? You get people to hear you that are perhaps Black people that want to be on that bandwagon, and they hear it and their ears are like, oh, yes. I'm not happy the Queen's who she was. I'm not happy about what she did. Look at what she's saying. And then they'll hear what she says. They'll believe the narrative because she is a professor. And then they run with that. And then before you know it, this misinformation is becoming more and more prevalent as the truth. And then you have all these people with misinformation about what actually has happened and overlooking the good that the Queen has actually done. And not even acknowledging the bad that other Black people back in the 16th all the way up to the 19th centuries have done to their own people with slavery. Slavery was not just something that happened with one race of people. It happened with all races of people. And it continues to happen to this day. There is slavery in 2022. There's so much bad and corruption in the world. How are you ever going to make it right everywhere? How can you even blame it to one woman that is the symbol of the British crown? Like, that's not even right to do. So the reality is before the transatlantic slave trade, there were lots of different forms of slavery. Okay, there were different ways of servitude. There were just different ways of human labor. That's just how it was. Okay, so this historian David Eltis has said that almost all people have been both slaves and slaveholders at some point in their history. Okay, so different types of slavery have existed throughout the world. There were generally different types of slavery, different, sizes of the different movements of slavery. There were different legal reasons for slavery. There were different definitions of slavery. Like, there were just all different kinds of slavery. It was never just black people being enslaved. White people have been enslaved too. Okay, so this is why this argument to what this lady is saying, it just makes really no sense to even say that, because it has happened, like I said, with all different races and colors, different people. All of this different slave movement or different slavery types happened before the transatlantic slave movement. It all happened before slaves were brought over to the Americas. African empires that were small to medium-sized and even kinship groups had conflicts around various political and economic reasons. These different African groups would enslave each other. They would take each other's captives because they viewed them as outsiders. People had different tribes back then, and it wasn't about your skin color. And a lot of people say that racism is a construct that just doesn't exist. People say that we never really looked at people in their different skin colors. This was something that was created, but they say that it was just something that was created to look at different people in classes based on the color of their skin, because before it was never about your skin color. It was about your tribe and where you came from. And they would enslave other black people. Black rulers would enslave other black people, even sold the black slaves to the Europeans. Her saying this is making it seem so just like black and white. No, it's not just black and white, like just simple, basic reality. It's a very complex narrative that needs to be researched and understood, because you can't just throw it out there as if the queen did all of these things. She's a bad woman and I hope she dies an excruciating death. Like, that is just so wrong to do, because you're not even being historically accurate when you say that. You're not even looking at the good that the queen did to help get rid of the oppressions. Why not even highlight that? She's taking something that is a negative and she wants to build on it, and she wants to make all people that are not black the bad guy, because look what they've done to my people, is what she's saying. They exploited these captives as prisoners of war, and they used them for their different labor. They even expanded this to different nations, to smaller kinship groups, and disseminated their own spiritual beliefs to these different people that they had enslaved, because they wanted to make them believe what they believed. The reason why they did this to different people in slavery is because it was for wealth. They wanted to enrich themselves even more, and the way that they did it was to exploit people from different tribes, different cultures from their own, and to influence them to be believers of their own spirituality. The European elites, they focused on owning land as a private property to get their wealth. So these elites would then gain their profits from labor that they had enslaved. And so what was already being done was just redone a different way, and the Europeans did it. And they were bought by other black slave owners. So basically, oppression, exploitative labor systems was going on both in Western Africa and the Americas long before the Europeans. and it was defined within social, political, and for economic reasons. The size of slavery changed, it expanded, it changed, it was more intense. This all, got really much bigger with the transatlantic slave trade and the American plantations that were created by the European, expansion over in America. So once again, we have to stop blaming other people for our oppression, our lack of whatever the lady, people are trying to say, whatever their point may be. And I think we have to go on and start educating people to be better and to go away from how things were done and to move forward with making things better. And if this lady is an educator, if she is doing something to teach people in a college university setting, she has the responsibility to educate fully of how things happen and not just based on her own narrative and her own story. And one of the reasons why I speak about what I speak about with Meghan is because she needs to be better as well, because she's educating. She's doing things to show people how things are in Great Britain because she's been there. So most people have is the narrative that Meghan will give them about who the British people are. And if Meghan is going around saying false things that are misleading and not true, and if this lady, Professor Anya, if she's doing it, then all you're doing is perpetuating misinformation. You're putting out lies. You are causing people to really not like something that was doing something good for a lot of people. Look at how beloved the Queen was. Look at all the good that she did. Sure, no one's perfect. No one's doing things right all the time. Even this Anju Anya is not even doing things perfectly. So as educators, I think we have to be better in how we put information out there, that it doesn't get translated as something that is hateful, but in a way to educate and to say, be better. And that's what I'm trying to do on my platform, just as a simple YouTuber. I know she may not want to acknowledge that black people enslaved black people, but they did. So you can't say the white man is the boogeyman. They're wrong. The Queen was wrong, and I hate the Queen. You are doing a disservice to all the good that the Queen did. I hope that the narrative becomes more around educating people around the truth and the whole truth of information, and to keep going on in a way that sees how we can be better today. A lot of bad has been done in the past by all kinds of people. So trying to make up for it now and to call out someone like the Queen for things that have happened hundreds of years ago is the wrong way to move forward. And I'm very scared that Meghan Markle will pick up on this and make it her narrative, and it will become the misinformation for a lot of people in America. And then she is then highlighted as the one that got away from the boogeyman. We don't want that to happen. So I hope this has been informative. I hope you've been able to see how this could be misguided information. Hey, and to be better when you're speaking about someone and their legacy, because it really isn't setting the right tone that could get us anywhere in a good way. I mean, I understand that this lady has had a lot of bad that happened to her from her people, her ancestries, but it wasn't the Queen doing it. The Queen of England didn't do it. Hey, if you're a professor, you have a duty to be better.